Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor, for those of you who have never been here before. And if you've never been here before, you might not know that I've been doing the 100 baby challenge pretty much all year, since about February, I believe. And I've learned quite a bit. We're somewhere in the 30s in the baby range. We're about to lose baby mama number one, not baby number one. She's got about 10 days left, and right now she has just children, toddlers, and babies, but no way to get pregnant, so she's going to age up rather soon, and I'm very sad about it. But we play the 100 baby challenge on this channel every single Sunday, and I really wanted to make a video of all of the things I've learned for this challenge and a bunch of tips that I have to help you play the challenge in a more efficient way. I know that a lot of people ask me a lot of questions about this challenge in the comments all the time, so I'm like, okay, let's just make a video with all of my tips so I have somewhere to send you guys. But before we jump in, I would just ask you guys to please give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful. If you're not already, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and you can also find my links to Twitter and Twitch in the description down below. So I've got a whole list of tips written here on my iPad, so I'm just going to go through them one by one. The very first tip I have is to never put high chairs in your Sim's house. These are an epic waste of time for your toddlers. There's no point in putting toddlers into a high chair because your Sims are going to take them out. It's going to be impossible to feed them, especially if you have multiple toddlers at a time, and it can just be such a pain in the butt. You have two really good options for feeding your toddlers. You can just pull food out of the fridge or just have a meal that's just hanging around, and your toddlers can go up and just grab themselves a serving. They'll sit on like any kid's chair, any ottoman, any like little poof they might sit on, or they'll just sit on the floor and eat. This is a really good option, especially in the beginning, because you don't want to spend a lot of money on option number 2. The second thing you can do to feed your toddlers, if you have The Sims 4 Get to Work, is that there were these fridge things that are meant for like a bakery or a cafe of some kind that you might run with the retail system. And you can fill these with food, and your toddlers can actually just walk up and grab the food anytime, and it won't spoil because it is refrigerated. So you can put these in your toddlers' rooms and just have them eat whenever they're hungry. That's one of my favorite tips for the 100 Baby Challenge, because it can be a big pain in the butt to try and feed your toddlers, because they're always hungry and they never finish their food, so they're always hungry even more, and it's just really annoying. The next tip I have is to create what I like to call a baby dungeon. This is a room where the door is locked and the only thing inside is the bassinets for your babies. This is because a lot of your other Sims, like children and teenagers, will come and they will stand in front of the baby bassinets and like coo and awe at the babies and just be annoying because they'll be in the way of you actually taking care of the babies. This can be just seriously annoying, and it is kind of weird to have a dungeon for your babies, but I've put it in the last few houses and it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. I usually have it like close to the matriarch's room. Right now in the challenge that we're currently playing, it is like right next to the matriarch's bathroom, so she gets her own bathroom and she gets a baby dungeon inside of her bedroom that no one else can go into, and it's incredible. But when you do this, your matriarch's able to go in, take care of them, and then leave, and the babies just kind of sleep. Now, as of right now, babies are still objects, so if they do change from being objects in the future, this will definitely no longer apply, but as of right now, this is the best way to do it. The next thing you want to make sure you do is use reward traits to your advantage. So these are the things that you can buy in the reward store with satisfaction points that you earn through aspirations, or if you have whims turned on. And what you want to do is you want to buy things like creative visionary so that your Sims have higher quality artwork. You want to buy things like, I believe marketable makes it so that their things are worth more money. You might want to get fertile. You might want to get seldom sleepy or never weary so your Sim has to sleep a lot less. And you want to use these things a lot in this challenge. Your Sim will be alive for a very, very long time because Sims don't age when they're pregnant. So you can definitely get a lot of reward traits, like a whole bunch of reward traits for this Sim that will make the game easier. And then when you're finally moving on from your first matriarch to your second matriarch, you can work that child from when they are a toddler to get as many satisfaction points and reward traits and bonus traits as they possibly can so they can be like a super Sim, and you can definitely use that to your advantage. The next thing is that you should try to live in a tiny home if you have The Sims 4 Tiny Living. When I started this challenge, I started it in a tiny home because I started it immediately after Tiny Living came out, and we were living in a micro home. The home was so small, and all of my children and toddlers were sleeping outside in tents, which is probably not the best parenting decision, but in The Sims 4 it worked very well because all of their skill gains were boosted double, relationships were boosted, and romance was boosted, and the bills were lower, and there were so many advantages to living in a tiny home that I think every day that we should just go back to that in the challenge. But then I'm like, but it's so nice to have a house. And I can't ever decide like what I like more. if I want the challenge to go a little bit quicker and all skills to be boosted, or if I just want to have a nice house and a nice life for Penelope. Something that was really exciting is that with The Sims 4 and Nifty Knitting, your children are actually able to gain the knitting skill, and this transfers over to when they're teenagers. So part of the 100 Baby Challenge is that you have to get your Sims to have an A in school when they're children and teenagers to be able to age them up. So you want to be able to get the skills early, as quickly as you possibly can. And the best way to do this is if you have The Sims 4 Nifty Knitting, to get your children to knit so that they can get a knitting skill, which counts towards their skills when they're in school as children, but it will also transfer to when they're teenagers. So you can get them to get to level 4 of the knitting skill and then not have to gain any skills as teens and age them up way quicker as a teenager because you won't be working on skills the entire time. I absolutely love Nifty Knitting for this. It's one of the only packs, I think it's the only skill that children can earn other than the child-based skills, which is pretty cool. The next thing applies if you have The Sims 4 Parenthood. You'll want to use school projects as much as you can on the weekends. Weekends in the 100 Baby Challenge are really weird because your kids are home all day and it's like, well, what do you do with them? So using school projects is really good because they can get their school boosted and get them to get better grades and age them up quicker. And they also gain skills through school projects, which is pretty awesome. You can find them in the skills section of the kids menu. They're in the build by catalog. If you search school project, they will come up. Or you can have them where they're sent home from school with school projects and do those. It's really, really helpful because of their school and because they get skills. And it's just good. It's just good stuff. And it gives them something to do on the weekend when you're like, what do I do with my Sims? The next thing is that you want to avoid the monster under the bed. There are three technically ways to do this. The first is you can actually disable it if you have the MC Command Center mod. The second way is that you can use the Kulala Defender light above your Sims' beds and it will get the monster to not show up. And the third way is actually brand new. There is a new bed that came with the Sims 4 Snowy Escape, a new single bed that actually doesn't allow for the monster under the bed, which is pretty cool. You want to avoid the monster under the bed because of just how annoying it is. It's really annoying because it'll wake up all of your children. Literally drives me just up the wall while I'm playing this challenge if I forget to add them, because it will wake up your kids, make them not have a good night's sleep, not be able to go back to sleep, and then have a bad day at school the next day. So being able to avoid that is key. There are two things that you really want to do with toddlers early on. The first one is to get them to learn the potty skill as soon as possible, since you're supposed to randomize their traits. If you do that, then you should get them to learn the potty skill as soon as possible. If you just give every toddler the independent skill, they can potty on their own immediately. But you want to do this so that they can potty on their own at level 2. And because once they get their potty skill up a little bit, they'll stop using their diapers altogether, meaning that it'll be so much easier to keep them clean and you won't have to give as many baths. The second thing is that you want to get their thinking skill up. So toddlers that have a really low thinking skill will be more defiant, they'll cry more, they'll throw hissy fits, they'll wake up in the middle of the night. But toddlers with a higher thinking skill are going to be a little bit more emotionally intelligent in a way. So they're more willing to do flashcards with you. They're more willing to get baths without being defiant and saying no. They won't wake up as much in the middle of the night. They're just overall easier to take care of and better Sims. So doing that is definitely a smart idea. If you have The Sims 4 Seasons, you want to celebrate all of the holidays. There are two reasons for this. The first one is that you want to get your matriarch as many of the satisfaction points as you possibly can, and a good holiday equals anywhere from 100 to 500 satisfaction points that you can use to buy reward traits. The second reason is that holidays like Winterfest and Harvest Fest can get you a lot of money. If you go and you buy a pile of presents, you can honestly get so many good presents on Winterfest, and you can ask Father Winter for presents. And if you appease all of the gnomes on Harvest Fest, they will leave a ton of seeds, which you can either plant to have a giant garden in your backyard, or you can just sell the seed packets for 100 simoleons each, leaving your sim with quite a bit of money. Two things that you want to make sure you have: satisfaction points and money in this challenge, and those are some great ways to get it without having to do a lot of effort. Plus, it's fun to kind of just celebrate with whatever kids are in the house at the time. The next thing that you want to make sure you focus on is lot traits. Now, lot traits can be applied to your entire lot, giving it different benefits and different things that you can do on that lot. The three that I always like to use for a 100 Baby Challenge, the first one is good schools, because these Sims are going to get better grades, meaning that they can age up quicker. The second one is child's play, because these Sims are going to earn skills more quickly, so you can age them up quicker. The third one I like to use is on ley line. Now this one is not for the faint of heart, because this is going to increase your Sim's chance of multiples, meaning more twins and more triplets, and taking care of them as babies and toddlers isn't very easy. So if you want just single babies at a time, don't use on ley line. I would switch it for something like Romantic Aura maybe, or if you have Discover University Study Spot, because that can boost skill gains. But on ley line will increase the chance that your Sim is going to have twins or triplets, which can be very helpful to get the challenge done more quickly. The next thing is that you want to choose a good way to make money. I always like to go through the painter extraordinaire aspiration early and get my sim to get the painting skill maxed out rather quickly, because then anytime that you need to pay your bills or you need money for something, you can just get them to whip up a few paintings rather quickly, and then you'll have a whole bunch of simoleons. Another great way to make money in this challenge is through writing books, but it can be really time consuming, I'm finding recently in this challenge, to get your sim to be good at writing books to the point where you get enough royalties. But when you are a really great best-selling author in The Sims 4, you'll get those daily royalties, thousands of simoleons, which is really awesome and really helpful in this challenge. So you want to definitely choose a creative career path because those are the ones that you can work from home and you don't have to get an actual job, and you can make quite a bit of money doing them. The next thing is that you want to make sure that one of the first household objects that you upgrade isn't your stove, it isn't your fridge, it isn't your bathroom, it is the matriarch's bed. You want to make sure that your sim has the best quality bed that you can afford at any given time, because the lower quality bed, the longer they need to sleep and the less comfortable they'll be when they wake up. So if you get one of the beds that's 10, 10, 10, has all of the best stats and costs 8,500 to 15,000 simoleons, you will not regret it because they'll sleep less and they'll just have a better life overall. You also have the option, since I believe Tiny Living, to actually upgrade your Sims beds if you want to, and you can do that as well as a cheaper option instead of buying a new bed, just to make it a little bit more comfortable so they wake up with better moodlets. The next thing is that you always want to get your matriarch to overcook. I honestly will serve meals, even if giant meals, 8 servings, even if there's 2 Sims in the house, just so that there's always a constant stream of food, because it may cost you simoleons in the short term. It'll be very valuable to just have food all the time when you have 4 toddlers who are all starving and yelling at you. So I always, anytime that my matriarch isn't doing anything, I'm oh, go make a meal, go cook something, cook something, cook something, cook, go cook, go, over and over again. That's all I do. The next thing is that if you have The Sims 4 get famous, you want to make sure that you keep your relationships with other Sims positive so that you can get a positive reputation. And the reason for this is that when you introduce yourself to a new potential baby daddy, you're actually going to start with a higher relationship, making it easier for you to be able to flirt and get all those interactions to go through properly. If you end up with a pristine relationship, which honestly isn't very hard in this challenge as long as you're not being mean to anybody, you'll end up getting a pretty good relationship boost every time you meet somebody. And honestly, that can be really, really helpful. If you pair that with a tiny living, tiny home, and the relationship boost from that, you're instant best friends with every single sim that you meet, which makes it so much easier to get someone to want to give you a baby. The next thing is that when your original matriarch is kind of nearing the end of their life and they give birth to the last female sim, you want to work so much harder on that sim. This means you want to get them all of the skills maxed out as toddler so that they can get that top-notch toddler trait. You want to finish at least one aspiration, preferably the creative aspiration, when they are a child so that they can get another bonus trait, the creatively gifted, or you can do physically gifted or any of the aspiration bonus traits there. And you want to start getting them as many satisfaction points as early as possible when they are teens, and just work so hard with that specific child when they are a child, a toddler, a teen, before they actually take over and become the new matriarch. The reason for this is that you want to make sure that they are ready. If you have bonus traits already set up, you'll be able to get them to do so much more than your original matriarch could when they first started, and they'll just be overall better, make more money, be better at parenting and everything under the sun. I honestly can't wait to prepare the new matriarch once we get to that point in the challenge. Another thing is that you really want to take into account the traits that your matriarch has when you create them, because you're going to be playing with the sim for a really long time. 2 traits that I would say that are pretty good to give them would be romantic, because it just makes it so that they want to flirt more and they're better at getting people into bed with them. And the second one would probably be creative, because I always choose to go with a writer or a painter to make money when I do the 100 Baby Challenge, and creative sims are going to be inspired more often, making it easier for you to create higher quality work. The next thing is that if you have the Sims 4 get together, you can actually make a woohoo club where you just have a bunch of Sims who can all be a potential baby daddy, and you hang out and you just woohoo with whoever, and it's just kind of socially acceptable for you to woohoo them without having to get your relationship up super high. And you can just add constant, adult age Sims who are just coming in, just woohoo, clubbing it up, and you can get pregnant pretty easily that way. I haven't actually used this myself, but I've seen a lot of other people do it, and I think that's hilarious to just make a woohoo club. And my final tip for this list is that you should not try to rush this challenge. You should just have fun. And the reason why I say this is that a lot of people try to speed run the 100 Baby Challenge, and then it just becomes so repetitive and so boring. I find that it's one of those things that you should be doing over many, many months, because it just makes it more fun. You get more connected to your matriarch. And when your Sims children start to die, you get kind of sad. But it's really, really fun to play it slowly. Have fun, let the game torture you a little bit with all the crying babies and crying toddlers, and just have a good time. But yeah, guys, those are my list of things that you need to know to be able to play the 100 Baby Challenge successfully. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Also, follow me on Twitter and Twitch. Links are in the description down below. I really hope you're having an awesome day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.